Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the divisional round of the NFL postseason, and with it, we got ourselves in the final game of divisional round weekend, the game of the week. The Dallas Cowboys traveling to Santa Clara to take on those San Francisco 49ers, and listen, I'm excited. This is going to be one fun football game, and for all I know, it ends in a 6-3 game or something like that, but all joking aside, let's take a look at this matchup. You got the San Francisco 49ers, they're at home, they're rested, and on top of that, they've been a machine. They've won 11 straight. You know, they're putting up 30-plus points a game in all of these games, more or less. You only have really one or two outliers where they've scored 20 points or more. But look, at the end of the day, they have been doing their thing. That in-season trade for Christian McCaffrey has to be one of the best in NFL history, regardless of the result of this game. The fact that he got plugged in and, you know, you have all these quarterbacks that you played, not really a lot, but Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Brock Purdy, I really do think that the 49ers have themselves a really well-constructed team. And that's no disrespect to those that play quarterback for this team. I just think that when you look at what Kyle Shanahan has done, he's built a team that literally, if you remember what his father did, he was able to plug and play running backs. Kyle's able to plug and play quarterback, which is unbelievable to say the least. Now look, I do firmly believe that the 49ers are going to be a tough matchup for any team. And I even said it before the postseason began. I thought the 49ers were the best team in the NFC given with their circumstances. And, you know, you see Ayuk walking through the door. You have George Kittle doing his thing. You have Deebo Samuel. And you also have some young guys on defense. You know, you got Nick Bosa. You have the safety. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's the second-year guy. He got first-team All-Pro. I'm sorry, 49ers fans, if you're watching this. I'm not really good with your names on your team. I think that when you look, though, at the 49ers as a whole, they're a damn good team, right? Then you look at the Cowboys. The Cowboys have been a weird team, but they've been battle-tested this year. You know, you lose Dak Prescott. You go 4-1 without him. You lose a lot of your players, and you do well without them. And then you see guys like CeeDee Lamb walk through the door. You see Dak Prescott, while he did lead the league in interceptions or tie for the league in interceptions, I really do think, though, when you saw what Dak Prescott did in Tampa, that wasn't really an anomaly. Like, at the end of the day, if you've been following the Cowboys for as long as I've told people that don't take what happens towards the tail end of the season as something that's going to translate into the postseason, because we have seen that if you watch the Cowboys, for some reason, whenever they have a disappointing way to end the season and people start doubting them, they turn on a switch and they actually take care of business. Now, there is bad blood here. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, we saw what happened last year in that wild card game. You know, San Francisco, they were winning the game decisively. Really, Jimmy Garoppolo, after I believe he got a shoulder injury, it made it closer than what it was. And I think that a lot of people forget that with that game, the Dallas Cowboys came in as a front-running team that wasn't battle-tested compared to that of the 49ers, who had to literally, with zero margin for error, win every single game to get into the postseason. And they did just that, and they made it to the NFC Championship game. Now, I'm not saying that the same thing's going to happen to Dallas here. However, it is very important to understand that the 49ers, on their 11-game win streak, have played opponents that you can argue are subpar. However, it's not like they were the Vikings, for example, right? When the Vikings were 13-4, it wasn't like they were 13-4 and they were barely winning. We're talking about a 49ers team that's taking care of business. That's the key difference, because I've had some people like, oh, well, Space Cowboy, why aren't you calling the 49ers frauds, but you call the Vikings frauds? Because with the Vikings, if you're just winning one-possession games, which is cool and all, but, like, that doesn't really tell me a whole lot. Like, who are you blowing out? Then you look at the 49ers who are taking care of business. That's just where it's at. Now, there are a couple things, if you are watching this on the Cowboys, because as a Cowboys content creator, I do have to speak on what the Cowboys can do to win this game. Look, one thing I will say with Brock Purdy is he's done a fantastic job, and I think that realistically, you know, he's only, I would say, had one game with, I believe that was the Raiders game, where that team has been tested to be like, yo, like, you might lose this game. But look, I want to make this super, super clear that the Dallas Cowboys have nothing to lose in this game. Every media pundit is taking the 49ers to win this game. The public in the betting odds, they're taking the 49ers to win this game in parlays, you name it. I mean, dude, like, the Cowboys are not expected to win this game. All the pressure is on San Francisco. Oh, Space, you're being disingenuous with saying that. Well, if that's the case, if there's no pressure on the 49ers, then everyone's taking them to win. I'm not saying they're not going to win. So here's the thing. How can the Cowboys win this game? Well, offensively, you have to do exactly what you did versus Tampa Bay. I think that you can apply the same game plan against the 49ers. Now, the thing is that I've talked to a couple friends and family regarding the 49ers because I want to see, what can we do? Like, what has been things that have hurt the 49ers this year? So they're like, well, you can try running on the outside. You could try passing it against these corners because the corners aren't great. Safeties are real good, but the corners, we have struggles there. That's what they're telling me. And this is how I look at it with this 49ers team. They're better offensively, but defensively, they are not as good as they were last year. But that doesn't mean that they're trash. That's just insinuating that they're not as on the same level as they were last year. So there's that. And I'm trying to find the stat, and there was something on Twitter. If I can find it, I'll put it in here. It was like since week 16, the 49ers pass defense hasn't been the greatest. But then again, you look at what happened in the wild card game versus Seattle, and it shows you that, yeah, you can beat the 49ers. You definitely can. But my thing is, and this is where I think Seattle lost, is they allowed the 49ers to get on a roll and snowball them. That is where the 49ers have won games, is that when they are on their game, they are the best team in the NFL. They are. And I think that there are some people, especially in the Cowboys realm of things, that will say, well, they haven't faced a team like the Cowboys. But it's like, okay, well, if that is the case, I mean, let's look at it this way. They are going up against a defense that has guys like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and company, right? So I think where they're going to win this game is the Cowboys defense has to keep the 49ers offense in check. You have to keep CMC in check. Brock Purdy, and I've noticed this a couple times as I've watched film on this, the 49ers quarterbacks, really Brock has been the only one doing this, is there are moments where he has all the time in the world to throw, and he's yet to be, in the playoffs, that is, be pressured. And I think that if the Cowboys apply pressure to him, there have been moments where he turns his back to the pass rush, which is a no-no for any quarterback. And I think he'll grow out of that, and I'm not saying he's not going to win the game. However, that happened several times versus Seattle. And luckily, Seattle they don't really have a good pass rush. And I know, what was one thing people were telling me, where the 49ers haven't been good outside their division, which is weird because it's like, again, they took care of business against most of these other teams. So I'm not believing that either. So I think for the Cowboys defensively, you need to put the pressure on Brock Purdy to beat you. And I think you can't lose sight of how this offense is going to attack you, because they have guys like Ayuk, Samuel, and Kittle. They are going to try and beat you in the middle of the field, I feel. That's where that's going to go. And I think that really you just got to take those options away for Brock Purdy, because at the end of the day, we're entering a situation where the 49ers could be the first team in NFL history or NFC history to have a rookie quarterback start the NFC Championship game. That's never happened before. Never. We haven't had a rookie quarterback win the Super Bowl, let alone get to one. So I think when you look at the circumstances of this game, and I'm not saying that's one reason to pick, because there are things that are going for the 49ers. The 49ers, they're since 2011, they're 4-0 after their first playoff game. So, for example, if they win a game in the divisional round or the wild card round since 2011, they go on to win their next game, 4 out of 0 times. The other thing is with the Cowboys, they're fighting history of their own. They haven't won a road divisional playoff game since 1980. That was against Atlanta. That's a long, long time ago, guys. Then we also have to factor in the Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game since 1996. Now, in my divisional round picks, I picked Dallas to win, but that was because I needed an upset pick in my league. But this is going to be tough for the Dallas Cowboys. It's no easy task. They can, this could go ugly for either team. This can go ugly for the Cowboys. But at the same time, we have to understand the circumstances that the Cowboys are coming into this game. Don't forget that the Cowboys have that poor taste in their mouth from last year. And everyone's been talking about that. Oh, the Cowboys are going to lose because look what happened last year. They got blown in the door. But here we are in 2023. And I think that, you look at what the Cowboys can do offensively. Again, do exactly what you did versus Tampa Bay. It's not going to be the most successful. I don't think Dak's going to throw 4 or 5 fucking touchdowns. But I do think that he'll have some success. I think, again, you just have to come into this game knowing you have the experienced quarterback. Oh, he's only 2-3 in the postseason. He's had more postseason experience than Brock Purdy. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. Well, we'll see. Because at the end of the day, guys, this is something where when you're trying to pick these games, it gets so fucking tough. Right? And, I'm not confident in the Cowboys pick. It's really like a 50-50 toss, but, I think it's weird how, people just aren't giving the Cowboys a chance in this game. They just aren't. They aren't giving the Cowboys a chance in this game. So with that being said, for my pick to win this game, I did pick the Cowboys to win this game. I'm going to stand by that. I think the Cowboys win this game 23-20. I think it's going to be one of those weird situations where Brett Maher kicks them into the NFC Championship game. I think that you look at Mike McCarthy, the last time his team made the NFC Championship game was in 2016, and it's hard, but in the current format, the 2 seed hasn't made it to an NFC Championship game. They just haven't. So we'll see if that continues. I did pick, if you go on my Twitter account, in my picks, I did pick the 49ers to win this matchup initially based off of analytics and data. And you might be saying, well, Space, why are you picking the Cowboys here? That's just more so for a pick'em league, and why the fuck not? But that's just me. And again, guys, I understand that I'm giving you this long diatribe, and you might be being like, oh, well, this, that, and the third. Listen, I'm not saying the 49ers are a trash team. I'm not saying the Cowboys are a trash team. All I'm going to say is that you are having a circumstance where you have a team in the Cowboys. No one is picking them to win this game. Only a handful, not even a handful, a small, minute amount of people are picking them to win this game. Meanwhile, you have the Eagles and Giants on the other side, where everyone's picking the Giants to win that game. And I would say, no, I'm not picking the Giants to win that game. Absolutely not. Because I always say this, and I've talked about this. Trendy upset picks, Vegas is going to make the call. I would say if I had to put my money where my mouth was, I would bet that the Eagles win, and then the Cowboys have the upset because of how many people are betting against the Eagles and betting against the Cowboys. So that's just my personal opinion on the matter. I know not everyone is going to agree with it, but that's just where I'm at, guys. I think the Cowboys win this game barely, and if I'm wrong, I'm whatever. I don't care. The Dallas Cowboys have met the quota, and they've gotten further and further every single year since 2020. Okay, 6-10, 12-5 wild card loss. We're 12-5 pending results after the divisional round. Do we get another week of Cowboys football? If we do, then I got to eat another hot chip, because right now I have 2 for reaching the 10,000 subscriber mark, which thank you everybody for all that. But with that being said, guys, let's see how the Cowboys do. That's where we're at. Tell me what you guys think about this matchup below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.